Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. As we start off our week, we do have some breaking news, a big update on a story that we've been following for some time. We have new information on that deadly officer-involved shooting in Posey County. The prosecutor reports the deputies who shot and killed 40-year-old Blake Fleming will not face criminal charges. And that shooting happened January 22nd on Highway 69 in Mount Vernon.
Now, the deputies, Chris McKinney and Stephen Albin, pulled over a semi that Fleming was in because he had active felony warrants. Prosecutors say that Fleming got out of the semi holding a handgun to his head. They say he followed the deputies' orders to put the gun down, but ultimately walked back to the gun and picked it up, despite deputies urging him not to. That's when the prosecutor says McKinney and Albin fired a total of 7 shots. Fleming died on scene. The driver of the semi was Fleming's wife, Laura Miley. Now, we are told that she later told deputies, that Fleming was either going to shoot himself or make law enforcement do it. Now, a very detailed story here. Our Emma Beck is sitting down with the prosecutor today, so she's going to have more details tonight on 14 News.
Now switching over to Hopkins County, GE Aerospace announced another multi-million-dollar investment in the plant in Madisonville. The company hired 5,000 people across the country last year, and they say they plan to do the same this year. Leaders say the money will be used to buy more machines, to increase part production, get new inspection equipment, tooling, and upgrade the facility. Employees at the Madisonville site make some of the most important engine components for military fighter jets, helicopters, and maritime engines. Of course, this is the type of story we'll keep our thumb on as it continues to develop another in a series of big economic investments.
Yeah. And I believe they had another large investment announcement just a few years ago in 2024. So incredible efforts there in Madisonville. Yeah.
Now, to round things off, we're going to go to Owensboro. Some possible good news for air travelers there. The Owensboro-Davis County Airport Board is considering adding another flight service.
Yeah, board members voted to recommend United Express, which would be operated by SkyWest Airlines. If approved by the Department of Transportation, officials say there would be new flights from Owensboro to Chicago O'Hare and Washington Dulles. If approved, this service would replace the current EAS service that's provided by Contour Airlines. Ideally, that new service would start in August. Pretty cool addition if that does happen, especially getting there closer to Washington, closer to the D.C. area. I mean, I'd take the flight.
Very cool. Right?
I would take it.
Oh, this is like just vacation possibilities.
Yeah,
and stuff
absolutely.
You get so excited about anytime they announce something like this. Well, as I'm sure you could tell, this is a very busy Monday for us here today. We've got reporters and photographers all over the tri-state. So be sure to circle back for 14 News at 4, 5, 6, and of course at 10.
All right, do not go anywhere. We are on alert tomorrow into Wednesday. So 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory will be right back after the break with all the details.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory. Every day I step on that mic cord and trip on it. Okay, let's jump into this First Alert weather day. We are on alert Tuesday night into Wednesday. Wednesday is really the main focus here, but it will technically start in the pre-dawn hours, so that's why we've added Tuesday night, as many of you may get woke up by these storms, as they will probably start before most folks are kind of up and starting their day. But most of the storms will be on Wednesday. This brings us the potential for maybe some heavy rain, damaging wind, hail, even tornadoes can't be ruled out here. Now let's start with what's going on right now. We do have kind of gray, gloomy skies across parts of the tri-state. There is some sun breaking through, but it's partly to even mostly cloudy, but dry. Even though we've had a lot of clouds today, we have stayed dry. If I widen out the view, you can see there are storms down to the south. There's a cluster of storms that we were tracking moving through Arkansas on 14 First Alert at noon earlier today. Those are moving through the Memphis area now. And then there's more storms stretching down around Jackson, Mississippi and into Louisiana there. All of that is pushing to the east, so it's not going to affect us. If you look at the storm threat for today, it is centered across the deep south there, where those storms will continue to move eastward through Mississippi and Alabama and through parts of Tennessee and Georgia as well through the day today. The tri-state under a risk of maybe just a general thunderstorm later tonight. But then tomorrow we've got another weather system moving in from the west, and it does bring a risk of storms for much of the middle part of the country here. We've got this risk of severe weather stretching from Michigan all the way down into Texas here. One of the greater areas of risk outlined in orange there is from northern Indiana back through Chicago and into northern Missouri. But again, all of that staying northwest of the tri-state. As those storms start to slide to the southeast, though, we are included in this outlook for storms because, again, late Tuesday night. Earlier in the day, the storms will all be to our northwest, but late Tuesday night, those storms start to push into the tri-state. And we do have this level 1 risk for an isolated severe storm. Then as this whole system continues to slide to the southeast on Wednesday, we're again kind of right at the cusp here of a level 1 to level 2 risk. So widespread severe weather is not expected in the tri-state, but an isolated strong to severe storm very late Tuesday night into the day on Wednesday is certainly a possibility. So let's take a closer look at the timing. I mentioned it's partly to mostly cloudy out there right now. I do think the clouds may thin a bit. We may get a bit more sunshine by the end of the day today, but it's going to be a short window. The clouds move right back in overnight. Again, we can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but it looks like the better chance of rain is going to stay to our southeast down around Bowling Green. But an isolated thunderstorm, especially in western Kentucky, can't be ruled out overnight tonight. Tuesday during the day, very cloudy, maybe a stray shower, but most of the day Tuesday looks mostly cloudy but dry. So again, I want to emphasize, even though you're going to see them both lit up in red on the 7-day forecast, during the day Tuesday, we are not on alert. The day looks fine. This is going to be very late Tuesday night. We're talking 3-4 a.m. We start to see these storms coming in from the west. So again, it's not that we're worried about the day on Tuesday. It's that when you go to bed Tuesday night, these storms may roll in before your alarm clock dings on Wednesday morning, right? So you may end up woke up very, very late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as these storms push into the tri-state. Now, this model is pretty heavy-handed with this earlier round of storms. Some of the models have these really weakening as they move into the tri-state and show these storms Wednesday morning not being all that impressive. So there's still some uncertainty of exactly how this is going to play out. We may end up with just a little bit of rain, a few rumbles of thunder, and not a lot of severe weather with this first round late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It's also possible those storms could hold together and we could see some isolated severe weather Wednesday morning. And how that plays out will then affect how the rest of the day plays out, because it looks like this is going to come in kind of two waves. So we have this chance of thunderstorms Wednesday morning. Then as that moves out, closer to the middle of the day, we have a second round of storms. That'll be along the actual cold front. So that starts probably sometime around lunchtime, 11 a.m. or so, and then pushes through the tri-state as we go through Wednesday afternoon. And again, this is along the actual cold front. If you look very closely here, you can see the wind arrows where we've got warm air flowing in from the southwest. Then as that cold front passes through, our wind direction will change and sharply colder air will start to move in sometime Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening. So Wednesday, we may end up hitting our high for the day, closer to the middle of the day, and then see our temperatures sharply beginning to drop as we go through the afternoon and evening as that cold front comes through. But as that cold front comes through, we are expecting a round of thunderstorms as well. Again, this is largely dependent on how those storms went earlier in the day, how much energy is still left in the atmosphere for the second round of storms in the afternoon. By Wednesday evening, any chance of storms starts to push off to the southeast. Any lingering showers then also start to move out. The clouds will clear overnight Wednesday night, and by Thursday, it's going to be mostly sunny, but due to that cold front changing our wind direction, it's also going to be about 20 degrees colder. So again, for those of you who may have missed it, this is a look at the thunderstorm outlook. Can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm tonight, mainly in western Kentucky, but really the risk of any severe weather well to our south today. Nothing to worry about today or tonight. Tomorrow is when we have that storm system that starts to brew off to the northwest, and then as those storms move into the tri-state very, very late Tuesday night, like after 3 a.m. on Tuesday night, those storms push into the tri-state, maybe an isolated strong to severe storm late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, with another round of strong to severe storms then possible from about midday on Wednesday through the afternoon. So one round very early in the morning and then another through the middle of the day on Wednesday. But both times our severe weather risk is isolated. So a few strong to severe storms possible, widespread severe weather not expected. When all is said and done, most of us will probably pick up a ½ inch to an inch of rainfall, but some isolated totals closer to 1.25 inches are possible. About a ½ inch to an inch seems like a pretty good bet for most of us. Flooding and even a tornado, both possible, but the chances of that are very isolated. The main concern is that these storms may be capable of producing damaging winds as well as some hail. It does seem like the hail threat would be greater with those morning storms and the wind threat would be greater with the afternoon storms. But again, they'll sort of play off of each other. So if the morning storms end up being stronger, sometimes that weakens that second round, whereas if the morning storms kind of fizzle out, the afternoon storms would then have more energy left to work with and they could become stronger. So we really won't know how it's going to play out for sure until those storms get here Wednesday morning. Let's take a check in on the comments here. Good afternoon, Emma, Lauren, Jeanette, Denise. Caitlin asking about the power being out in Henderson. I haven't heard anything about that, Caitlin, but I'll mention it to the newsroom as soon as I get off here and see if they know anything. Zach asking about severe weather outbreak. No. As I said, we are not expecting widespread severe weather in the tri-state. This is an isolated risk. So a strong to severe storm or two certainly possible, but widespread severe weather and outbreak, as Zach is describing it, is not expected. But you know, we don't know where those 1 or 2 severe storms would pop up. So you need to be prepared for the possibility that it could be that warning would include you. Let's take a moment to talk about temperatures here, because it feels pretty nice outside today. Yesterday was a little cooler. We had that very rainy day on Saturday, and then behind that, Sunday was a bit on the chilly side at times. Today, though, we've got temperatures climbing into the upper 60s to low 70s. Madisonville all the way up to 75. It's 70 degrees even in Evansville, Newburgh, and Henderson right now. And that's despite the fact that we haven't had a lot of sunshine today. We've had clouds overhead for much of the day, but what's really driving this isn't the sunshine, it's the wind. We've got warm air just pumping in from the south-southwest, and that flow of warm air from the south is what's driving our temperatures. And especially with the time change that we went through over the weekend, we now will hit our warmest part of the day about an hour later than we were previously. So beforehand, we typically hit our high around this time, around 3 o'clock or so. Now, oftentimes, we won't hit our high temperature for the day until 4 or maybe even close to 5 o'clock. So we may still climb another couple of degrees this afternoon. Then we'll start to drop back through the 70s this evening and through the 60s overnight, eventually bottoming out in the lower 60s by the end of the night tonight. We may see a little bit of patchy fog. I'm afraid it may be too breezy for any widespread fog to develop, but some patchy fog is possible. And as I said before, can't rule out an isolated shower or storm, mainly in western Kentucky. Tuesday, Mostly cloudy, another breezy day with that southwesterly wind still pulling this warm air into the tri-state. That's going to push our temperatures into the upper 70s tomorrow afternoon, but then we are on alert for that chance of storms very late Tuesday night into the day on Wednesday. As that cold front passes through the tri-state, we then see a drop of about 20 degrees from Wednesday to Thursday. So we go from a high in the low 70s Wednesday around middle of the day to lows in the mid 30s Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then our highs only reach the low 50s on Thursday, which is actually closer to where we should be this time of year. That cool down doesn't last very long. We warm right back into the 60s Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Another cold front on Sunday, though, brings us another chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms. As of right now, we're not expecting severe weather on Sunday, but we could get a few rumbles of thunder, and then behind that cold front, our temperatures drop again, and it's possible on Monday our highs will only reach the 40s. Now, so far this March has been warmer than average. We had that one day last Monday, a week ago today, where it was kind of cold and dreary. Our highs only made it to about 40, but the rest of this past week has been warmer than average. In fact, on Friday we hit the low 80s. It's also been a very rainy start to the month of March. Of these, 8 days or 9 now, including today, we have had rain on more than half of them, and some days even some heavy rain. Last Thursday, the 5th, we set a new rainfall record. Saturday, as I said, was very rainy. All in all, the official rain gauge at the Evansville Regional Airport has picked up more than 4 inches of rainfall at, just this first week of March, not the whole month, just this first week. So we are running a pretty big surplus on the month of March so far, which has also helped dig us out of the hole that we were in February. February was the 5th driest February on record, so we were running quite the deficit on rainfall for the year. So we've really helped get closer to our average with this rainy start to March. But look at that average temperature, 12 degrees warmer than normal through these first few days of March. All of that rain has to eventually go somewhere, right? So as it's working its way down into the rivers, we do have a little bit of river flooding to talk about in Newburgh, Mount Vernon, and Shawneetown. The river is at minor flood stage, expected to crest tomorrow in Newburgh at 41, Wednesday in Mount Vernon, and then in J.T. Myers and Shawneetown on Thursday. J.T. Myers not in flood stage yet, but expected to get there before cresting on Thursday. The bigger flooding issue, though, is in the small rivers a little farther to the north. Along the Wabash, we do have some minor flooding in Mount Carmel and New Harmony, and both of those are expected to not rise very much, but just kind of very slowly still rise a little bit more, just a few more feet as we go through the rest of this week. Mount Carmel expected to crest on Sunday, and New Harmony expected to crest a whole week from now, next Monday. So the Wabash will remain high all week long. And then looking along the White River, Petersburg already dealing with moderate flooding, Hazleton not far off from it, and both expected to crest during the second half of this week at moderate flood stage. Carmi expected to reach minor flood stage by the end of this week, but we are not expecting any flooding right now in Kentucky, both at Calhoun and in Paradise. The Green River below flood stage and expected to stay below flood stage. So just a little update there for those of you with interests along the river. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Again, like I said, Tuesday and Wednesday both lit up in red, but really that alert is for very, very late Tuesday night. So most of the day Tuesday is fine. We're talking, 3 a.m. really late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Then we remain on alert through Wednesday afternoon. Big drop in our temperatures behind that cold front, but then we warm back into the 60s Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday look pretty good. Some clouds on Friday, but Saturday really great. Sunshine, highs in the mid to upper 60s. Then we've got a cold front moving through Sunday. That does bring us a chance of storms. Right now, not expecting severe weather, but some thunderstorms. And then that brings us another big cool down with highs only in the 40s Monday of next week. We won't stay that cold. We will gradually start to warm back up, but the extended outlook does show more typical mid-March temperatures expected in the extended outlook for next week, along with near to slightly below average precipitation. So once that cold front moves through on Sunday and brings us that other chance of storms, as we get into next week, it really seems like cooler, drier air will start to take back over. I do want to give a quick reminder. We've been talking about severe weather preparedness week. We had tornado drills in Illinois and Kentucky last week. I hope you participated if you're in one of those states. Indiana's is scheduled for tomorrow. I did confirm today, despite the risk of severe weather, they're still going to go through with the drill because the drill is at 9:15 in the morning, and they're really not expecting any severe weather until later in the day. So we are still going to have a tornado drill in the state of Indiana at 9:15 tomorrow morning. That's Central Time, 10:15 if you are an Eastern Time viewer there. NWS will issue a test tornado warning. This is going to set off weather radios, TV and radio stations will probably run a test message. It will not set off your cell phone though. That comes through as a test, and so your cell phone recognizes that, and it's not going to set off everybody's cell phones with that alert tone. But this is a good time to practice where to go and what to do so that you're ready if there is an actual tornado warning. This is perfectly timed. Go ahead and participate in that drill tomorrow morning, and then if we do get any severe weather Tuesday night into Wednesday morning or all the way through Wednesday afternoon, you're going to be prepared and know what to do, and everybody will feel safe and ready, right? All right. Oh, good afternoon, Laura Gray and Hillary. Those seem to be the only comments I had missed before. If there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, there's one more look at your 7-day forecast. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have an updated look at these first alert weather days and the forecast for the rest of the week on 14 News tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10. And he'll do another streaming show tonight at 9. So I hope you'll join him for that.